So I'll go back to the first thing we spoke today. That wasn't filmed at that point. I was just summarizing. Now I'm going to capitalize on that. The three denials, okay? Fear, shame, pride, are actually the same thing experienced in their three polarities. Okay? We can believe if we really want to gross it up. It's not accurate, but it could be proton, neutron, electron if you want. Okay? It's just three polarities, three ways of experiencing that denial. Okay? The different ways that these denials come together at the atomic level is what you have experienced emotionally and mentally when in your mind you have contemplated for long enough the experience of shame to become aware of it and dissolve it. The denials hold you together. At least they seem to do. But at one point, we're afraid that if we do not have denial, we'll just dissolve and go into consciousness, and now our individualized self is threatened. Okay? Because it never experienced vacuity, or at least the anima, the first city of just subtle consciousness everywhere. Okay? And I was saying, William, when you do the city meditations, all of the cities, what they do, they make you conscious of that space between the atoms. The city meditations are not necessarily to go into vacuity, but it makes you aware of that most refined consciousness that you are, which is not only the dense, apparently tangible particles. It makes you aware of all that you flow into. It's not even what you are, it's what you flow into. Okay? When you are conscious, and the more conscious you are of yourself, how are you conscious of yourself? You observe what is gross and tangible and hard. So if you have a dense emotion, abandonment, rejection, guilt, various levels of suffering, and you do the integration that I teach in many other seminars, breathe and be conscious of that density, of that hardness, that fear, that suffering, and try to identify it. It's not absolutely necessary to identify it. Sometimes we just can't. You don't know which denial it is, you just feel some kind of resistance, so you say, well, it's denial. Start with that. At one point you'll see if it's fear, shame, or pride, or one of them in between, because these are not three separate denials. These are just three peaks where they seem to be tangible, but in between shame and pride there's unworthiness, and there's tons of stuff. It's a wheel of potential. You can't use words on every possible variation of the denials, but these are the three main and the most important to gaze at, because they're the grossest and the more obvious for our human nature. Okay? So what we'll do is a simple meditation meant to bring us into that state of vacuity. So you will do two things at once. You will contemplate the emptiness of what you're made of. You will contemplate the vacuity from which all things came. And you will contemplate at the same time what prevents you from going to vacuity. So you're going to do two things at once, okay? Vacuity. Breathe. It's time to put the pens down. Breathe gently. For the sake of that meditation, I'm turning off the air. Kickstart the experience through a visualization. Falling in darkness, nothing to hold on. The mantra is Abu. It's not Abu, it's Abu. Abu. Vacuity. What is unmanifested. Falling in darkness, nothing to hang on. Look at the fear of falling. Look at the shame. Look at the pride. Look at the resistance of going to nothing. That is your ego. Love your ego. Accept it. Look at it. Abu. There is nothing. Vacuity. Breathe. Contemplate the darkness of nothing. Contemplate that resistance. Vacuity. Contemplate what part of you so much wants to hold on to reality as you know it. Abu. Falling in darkness. What part of you so much wants to hold on to being tangible in your dream? You got emotions that wants to stay alive. You got thoughts that want you to stay individualized. And you got atomic, natural force that is meant to be kept solid. Look at the fear of losing yourself in nothing. Breathe. It will release emotions at levels where usually emotions are not experienced. It can relieve emotions from the physical plane. It can have your body react. It's okay. Relax. Breathe. Now we'll go into that state that will pull your mind a bit more. Abu. 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 Please take a deep breath. Contemplate in your mind softly. Abu. Abu. Nothing. Falling in darkness. Damper than complete obscurity. In the absence of light and sound, even if you hear my voice, contemplate. There is no voice. Absolute silence. Nothing. Abu. Contemplate your attention now on your abdomen. There is vacuity inside me. Your consciousness is in your abdomen. Contemplating something apparently tangible, your abdomen, your lower abdomen. Contemplating the apparently tangible from the untangible point of view, Abbu. There is nothing. I contemplate what appears to be something. There is nothing. Potential creativity, power of vacuity is gushing through your abdomen. And the Kundalini released from within the atoms is gushing into your abdomen. From what is empty inside you, filling up what seems to be tangible inside you. From the point of Abu, everything inside you that is nothing is pouring divine consciousness from out of the space where there is no space, Abu. And that consciousness is delivered in the abdomen. Naturally, it summons the existential reaction of the ego to exist. And you are filled with Kundalini. Filled with the power wrapped tightly in the atoms. Gazing at illusion of tangibility from the point of vacuity, Abu. 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 We will slowly come back from the gazing of vacuity. Pay attention to what was awakened inside you. Pay attention to what reacted. It can be a strong reaction. It can be so light that it is hard to believe it's a reaction. Look at the simple desire to stay tangible. You know from your experience what was awakened, what part of you wanted to stay away from vacuity and what part of you enjoyed the merging of vacuity and apparent tangibility. The crossing of worlds where the experience of nothing and the experience something merge, flow in one another. And it makes an atomic, gentle reaction. And you can feel that power, that energy delivered inside your abdomen. In the abdomen is the power of creation in such a way that we have called it procreation. It is where new life comes. In the abdomen is the Father, Brahm. In the abdomen is the mother Shakti. Brahm, Shakti, two polarities of the vacuity and the apparently tangible, merging together as a single, indistinct experience. Keep contemplating. And look at the reaction of the ego beyond the mental reaction. It's not necessarily a denial as you recognize them. It can be something very hard to describe as a simple wanting to stay in place. There is something inside you that wants to keep control of what you are. Find it. What wants to stay in control? It makes your muscles a bit tense in the back and the belly. What part of you wants to stay in control of your existence? Look at it. Fear of losing control naturally comes out of that. So get a look for you and your neighbor on your right. What part of you wants to stay in control? Your fear of losing control of your individual experience will wake up. Now I'll go back in the state of vacuity to pull you back there. Contemplate. Participate. Abu. Relax the reaction of control. Even it's very subtle. Relax it. To go back in nothing and lose yourself this time. Just forget about everything. Abu. 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 Nothing. Darkness. Absolute absence of sound. Nowhere to pay attention. Your mind on nothing. Abu. Abu. Relax everything. There is nothing more to relax. Abu. Gently focus back on your abdomen, gently. And use your lower abdomen as a temporary tool to imagine the bridge between vacuity and tangibility. From Abu you go into Purusha and Prakriti. From vacuity you go into true nature of self, and in contemplation of the mass, which is not mass. And now go at it in a compassionate way. As you come back, now our focus is on coming back from meditation in a compassionate way. I appreciate what I am. I appreciate from a point of view of loving divinity, the localized individual experience I am. A divine act of God in my body. A white light inside me. I am self-contained and I am pure. So happy. Divine act of God in the body. The vacuity, immensity of nothing is acting through the few localized atoms that I seem to be made of, the few localized emotions and thoughts, through the streams of life force and the space between them, the space between my emotions and the space between my thoughts, are expressing the love of God through the thoughts, through the emotions, through the atoms, through the life that animates it. I so enjoy the physicality, the tangibility of my body in flesh. I am a divine act of God in my body. I am white light inside me. I am self-contained and I am pure. I am divinely contained in what I am, apparently individual and localized. I am a divine act of God in my body. I am white light inside me. I am self-contained and I am pure. I am a divine act of God in my body. I am white light inside me. I am self-contained and I am pure. I am a divine act of God in my body. I am white light inside me. I am self-contained and I am pure. I am a divine act of God in my body. I am white light inside me. I am self-contained and I am pure. Breathe. Focus on your abdomen. For now we use the abdomen. Do not hurry too much to recognize it in everything. Focus on the abdomen. And there is power that was released from the abdomen. And it flows inside you. And you imagine that it starts to swirl inside your abdomen like a big ball. And it swirls forward. It stays inside you, but it swirls forward in the sense that the energy that is above goes in front and down in your sexual organs, and then back in your sacral bone and up, and whatever energy is at the bottom goes to the back. What is in the back goes to up, and what is up in your abdomen goes in front. And you don't have a wave, you have a complete circular system that rolls forward like this. Doesn't roll forward, it stays put, focused, perfectly balanced, using the center of your abdomen like an axe that you cannot really identify exactly where, but you got your own inner universe in there. This forward motion of your abdomen, and this power is very strong inside you. Very strong, and the further it is inside in the middle of your abdomen, the more powerful is that white light. Use your imagination to contemplate it's going so fast, there's no way you can imagine and see the actual speed of the infinite speed of your inner gravitational generator, your inner galaxy, your inner universe. And the further the energy is from the central ball of your nuclei has gone, the more you can see it vibrate, like when you see the inference pattern on the wheel of a car that goes very fast, or on a fan that blows very fast, and you just see this inference pattern so quickly forward moves, and you breathe. And this power, you now contemplate that you exist in a more expanded fashion, as this power is swirling around you extremely fast, further away from the nuclei in your abdomen of Brahma and Shakti. It is going so fast that it's beyond your actual body, and it reaches your head and goes forward, and when it rolls will go to your feet and then back up your back, and more or less circular, can be egg-shaped, can be very spherical. It's both at the same time flowing in various patterns and ways, very powerfully and fast. Your inner galaxy is also your outer galaxy, focused using your inner abdomen as an unprecise axle of powerful rotation. And you're conscious now, paying attention of your consciousness and power moving many feet above you, in front, then below, then back, and all of this in a swirling motion as you expand your consciousness, and you're the center of this power as big as the block, deeply into the earth, high in the sky, forward and backwards, and just swirling around you. And you're contemplating your galaxy as it engulfs the earth and the moon and the sun and the other planets, and you are in experience of cosmological proportions centered in your abdomen, infinitely moving fast as Brahma and Shakti, from vacuity and creation making love, where vacuity and creation are making love, binded, releasing the Kundalini power as you swirl and move through the galaxy itself and the universe. And it is silent, yet extremely powerful and vibrant, and the sound is heard by the level of the souls. And this power so strong, and the universe comes closer now to become the galaxy. And that galactic power of cosmological proportion is brought back inside you and pulled down to the scale of the sun and the earth, and pulled back to the level of the block. You're pulling it up, and you're still the galaxy, but you're conscious of that energy pulling in, and you feel this densifying so powerfully in your abdomen. It comes back as the size of the block and the close earth, and then the building, and then the size of your bigger shell and your body, and condensed inside and focused powerfully. Kundalini, very powerfully wrapped tight inside you. Kundalini, power, Brahma and Shakti making love, and it swirls. And we settle where the swirling is very powerful inside our abdomen, but we stay acknowledging it around us. It is a gentle flow, bigger than your body, animated by the powerful swirl, apparently forwardly, but acts inside your abdomen of creation. And you relax it. Now just contemplate its natural, self-contained rotation on itself. Gently you will all stand up. Set your back to the wall and look there. So the camera sees me. Yes. Breathe in. Move your hands up and then down in any way you want. You just want to move. Now try to feel that chi that was released. Okay? And move your hands in various ways. In the in breath up, in the out breath down, but in any direction as you feel it. In the in breath outwards in a direction. And just feel all the consciousness that gushed into your body and filled you and is all around you and available inside your body, outside your body. Just feel it. Okay, breathe and relax. I just wanted you to be aware of this and make it flow. Okay, you feel all this heat waves all around you. You can sit back again. Now in a more conscious way, in a more contemplative way, in a less meditative, transcendental way, look at the denial. There's something that was released inside, which is that resistance to the unity of the universal and the localized individual mind. Okay? It is that ego that I took the time to draw in this metaphor of the monster. Okay? Universal versus individualized mind. Quantum metaphysics is an experience to observe the natural reaction we have to unity. There is abandonment, rejection and guilt that holds us separate. Now this experience of denial, of emotion, and of course the 21 masks of the ego, if you take the time to learn them and study them and practice their dissolution. All the masks of the ego are inside that atomic system that we have. So there is an emotion experienced at the physical level that you will not feel like when you have an emotion in your emotional level. When you have an emotion, you feel an emotion like in your heart, in your guts, and something inside, and you have the emotion. When you have a thought, you have a thought mostly in the head and the ego, intellect, okay? Well, when you have an ego reaction or an emotional reaction at the level of flesh or physicality, it won't feel exactly like the emotion when you have it at the level of emotion. You'll feel something that seems to resist. And you'll say, oh, if that experience was felt at the emotional level, what would it be? So therefore, you're trying to integrate your emotions at the atomic level, at the genetic level, at the level where we live physicality. Okay? So look at that ego reaction. There's something right in your heart, can be in the abdomen, can be in the throat. I feel so much resistances. Depending on each of you that is actually experiencing it, because I'm living this with you. I'm accompanying you in the process. Okay? Who has the ball in the throat? Okay? Okay, rejection regarding the communication with others. Your atoms have that experience of rejection in communication with each other. Okay? Your cells, at the level of cell, there's atomic level, very small, there's a level of cells between them, have ego reaction at a genetic level. Then these cells agglomerate in the form of organs. Organs have ego reaction towards the rest of the system. Now you as a whole being have ego reaction towards other beings, and the same way that us as many beings together, groups, have reactions against other groups, and all these groups together form a society that reacts to other societies and cultures. At every level we have that ego experience. It's the same. Okay? Keep looking inside you. That beast, that aggressivity against vacuity, which is the effort deployed originally by our divine nature to collapse into a localized world, to fall down from heavens, as we would say in old biblical language, to go from the non-manifested to the manifested, apparently tangible. What gives us the illusion of substantiality, what in Sanskrit we call dravyamaya. Dravyamaya is all this impression of being substance that we have. There's ego that maintains that. Okay? But it is not ego that created that. Ego maintains the separation. Ego maintains the feeling of separation and isolation from God. But it is not ego that created that. The ego was created at the same time than separation, at the same time of dravyamaya, illusion of substantiality. Our ego is a fruit of spirit and consciousness, the same way that mass and matter, cells, emotions, thoughts are. Okay? Everything manifested in every plane produced its equivalent ego at the same time, because it is held in place through that. This means if you master your ego and even dissolve the patterns of denial and rejection, you will not stop existing, because the ego is not what makes substantiality stay. It is the original mind of nature. The first thing that Brahma thought in Shakti, making love with her, if you want to take the parallel, it's not just Brahma, it's Brahm as a whole, the Godhead. When all that is divine went into the matrix to produce that substantiality, this is what allowed creation to be, and there is a level of thought that holds us together and keeps us as manifested, individualized beings. So your ego that is afraid to disappear, your ego that is angry at love, your ego that is angry having been rejecting from love, actually the ego was not rejected from love, but this is what he feels. Okay? He blames the other instead of looking at himself for his choice to individualize. Okay? Even at the level of soul, where we chose to individualize, we have ego at this level. So an emotion felt at the level of the soul is not as tangible and obvious than emotion felt in your human heart. But there is something that looks like emotion at the level of consciousness, causality, and wisdom, the three planes of the soul. Okay? Look at it, feel it, and breathe it. This little anger. Bah! I would love to have a marionette, this, but we don't have it. And don't go and buy one. Okay? Just, oh, Maha said we're gonna have it. I'm going to Cracker Barrels and getting a marionette. No. We have these patterns inside us. Okay? Each time we contemplate ourselves, we seem to be tangible, but every part of us we're not paying attention to is in that inference experience, like in the inference pattern demonstration, in this feeling of being a wavy something, okay? And we are made in such a way to be intangible, and we have the power inside. You know, the core of our Brahman Shakti, they're making love, and they're very tightly wrapped together, very intimately. Okay, there's something very, that you humans would call sexual. Actually, sexual is what we have described as that animal nature, what this happens in the line between vacuity and the first plane of consciousness, okay? We have the Kundalini explaining inside us, right? Time to take a small break and look at everything that was awakened through this experience. You know, we did step by step, went to vacuity, looking what resisted vacuity. As we gain experience going in vacuity, we also contemplated tangibility or apparent tangibility, which made it to, some people almost felt it as non-tangible, as just this experience. So there's a lot of things we contemplated in this meditation, a lot of aspects. Going to vacuity, what prevents us from going there, coming back from vacuity, looking at tangibility or appearance of it, from this space between our atoms or what constitutes us, gushing out energy into what constitutes us, okay? The Dravya Maya, the illusion of substantiality, and from there the ego reaction, the fear of dissolution. We got so much stuff awakened through this meditation. It'll be good to do it again, okay? When you use the video to do that. And it's good to do it on your own with no video and to play with all these aspects. And then at the end of it, merge back the universal experience of vacuity to the localized experience of vacuity, the universal mind and the individualized mind. Through this, we call this the inner generator, okay? The contemplation of the inner generator, this thing that just goes very fast, very strong, very powerful, and it's like a ball that you cannot really define if it's where it's the core. It just goes very dense, and the further away you go from the core of that, when it reaches the surface of your body in front and in back, making that ball, you know, it's less dense, but it's just so powerfully moving, and you pay attention to the reaction, the movement of that outside you, and you breathe. And you stay focused. And if you want to play, you can go to the universe and back, but it's not your energy expanding to the universe. You're just contemplating that this movement is as large as the universe, because as a single atom, metaphorically, as a single atom, you have an effect on the whole of the universe. So you contemplate as far away as your effect is at the macrocosmic level, and as close inside at a microcosmic level. And that causes all these reactions of unity, the contemplation, the universal mind versus the localized individual mind. Okay? And that mind is not on the mental plane. That mind is the expanded mind, chitta. The Sanskrit chitta, you know, the expanded mind that goes from somewhere in the soul to somewhere almost close to the body, the very expanded mind, as opposed to manasa, which is the intellectual ability to understand and stuff like that, okay? We want to contemplate that mind is not just intellectual computation. It's how the physical atoms think also. It's the mind of nature. It's not limited to human experience. Okay, we are arrogant and egocentric. We want everything to be like we do. If there's a mind in everything, it means that a rock thinks. Well, it doesn't think like a human, of course, but there is mind in a expanded meaning of what is mind. There is consciousness. But consciousness is not necessarily mind. Consciousness is not tainted. Mind has a program, a thought. Okay? So the difference between mind and consciousness is the ability to pay attention. I'm conscious, I know I'm here, so I'm conscious. That's consciousness. Okay? And mind is whatever I pay attention to, and what I have judged or labeled or associated. It's what I have computed or produced out of an intention. Pure consciousness is not label, is not word, is not communication, it's not anything that can be identified. Mind is everything that can be identified. So there is something that can be identified throughout the universe, the universal mind. And before there were humans to think, there was a universal consciousness that made the first set of thoughts, actually the first thought, which became the many, that allows the universe to stay functioning. Okay? So whatever we learn in quantum physics regarding if no one is paying attention to something, it's still not real, that's partially true. If no human will never look at something, eventually the mind of nature will make that decision and something natural will happen according to the laws of nature, which is God's mind. It's Shakti's mind. Okay? The laws of nature is the mind of Mahashakti, or Vishnu Shakti, right? The universal mother. We say in Hebrew, Adonai Haaretz, okay? The Lord of the physical realm, right? I thought you'd like to know. Breathe. That was a lot of meditation, a lot of information, a lot of stuff just for you to pull this consciousness of what it is to exist. And to resolve this fear of stopping to exist. This fear, if I keep going, will I cease to exist? When I enlighten, will I cease to have preference? If I conquer sexuality, will I have never sexual experiences again? I'm afraid of conquering desire because I'm afraid of not having desires because I love him. Go through these fears. You will be able to exist how you want in a much more expanded level of freedom.